Hi, what's up, Chalkers? Welcome to the Let's Chalk About It podcast. If you're new to fitness or just want to hang with some like-minded fitness folk, then this is the place for you. Remember, it's always good to chalk about it.
Hello guys and welcome to another episode of Let's Chalk About It. I am joined by the ever knowledgeable Chris McKenzie and obviously Cactus Jacked Scott Carson. And in this episode we are also joined by the bath bombed Scott's Bath, Sam Harvey.
How are you? It's my bathing accessories now.
Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for the invite, boys. It's a pleasure to catch up.
How have you been keeping during this lockdown time? Lockdown number 2, the prequel.
Not too bad. Nothing's changed too much for me, really. Like, still been able to work, which is quite lucky. I'm a bit of a hermit anyway, so it's not too different, but it sort of is a bit shit in a way of like, with just realising what is going on for a lot of people. I think it's a weird time for a lot of people, and
I think if you could sum up 2020, that would be the slogan, wouldn't it? A bit shit.
Yeah, like pretty shit. But yeah, I'm hopefully it'll be sorted out by like early next year. But I don't know.
It just seems to be one of those things that just keeps getting pushed back and pushed back.
Yeah, yeah, it's pretty.
And the more it gets pushed back, the more people seem to rebel against it, which just makes the matters worse.
Yeah, it's just sort of a bit of a mess at times, isn't it? Like you say, when it's getting pushed back and people are rebelling, and it's like, well, they're not happy, so they feel they have to rebel to prove their point. And yeah, I'm glad it's not my job to do anything to do with that, and I can just paint walls and stuff and be a hermit.
So, Sam, for all of our listeners, can we just have a little bit of a background on you from a powerlifting point of view and a fitness point of view?
Well, fitness. There's not much fitness here, but yeah,
t-shirt.
I started powerlifting. I think it was 20, sort of around the. Well, I say powerlifting. It was training at the gym and getting more interested in powerlifting in around 2013, and I then met Mike King. He was my first coach, and he still does quite a lot for powerlifting, like with loading and spotting and stuff like that. I used to go over to his gym. It was about 30 minutes away from where I live, so it was like, I remember I'd have to go on a Saturday morning, and I would work. I used to work in security at nightclubs and all that crap. So I'd have to work like really late the Friday night, and I'd get like 3 hours sleep. But I was really just interested in powerlifting. It was all stemmed from my friends showing me videos of, I'll never forget, it was Brandon Lilly, Dan Green, and like the Lilly Bridges, all on YouTube. It might have even been one of the powerlifting motivation videos or something. And I was like, that looks cool. And you sort of it just stems from there, really. And then hearing Mike's experiences and stuff. And then, yeah, I think my first comp was 2014. Like regionals and stuff like that.
Then your first British in 2014, was it?
Yeah, that was the end of 2014, wasn't it?
I want to say September, I think.
Yeah. It's so hard to remember.
The England's was the beginning of August that year. And then I want to say British was early September 2014 in Dover. And that's what I mean. You had a really good chat and just had like the best comp. You would have been the day after me, and yes, I think you'd have had quite a few comps after that. And then you went. So talk about your then future success. You went on to the Europes.
No, well, I was meant to go to the Euros, and I was ill. I was really gutted. I got food poisoning. That was meant to be my first.
Oh no!
Pardon me, my first trip overseas, and that really screwed me up. I think it was after that I got to do the Four Nations, which was pretty cool.
Sick.
And then, yeah, the best experience was Worlds in 2016.
Oh my God.
In Poland, which was really cool.
Yeah, how was it run? How was that as a competition? Like when it was run?
Insanely perfect. It was really good. I think from what I've heard, a lot of the a lot of the worlds and internationals are really, really well run.
Yeah.
But that was mental. I'll never forget it. Like when anyone asked how it was, and like one of the memories I had was I'd done well. First off, was going into the warm up room, and obviously I'm a midget, and the only squat rack that was left was with the Icelandic team.
Oh no!
Oh no!
And,
What?
Yeah, mate. There was. Yeah, I can't remember his name. I don't want to butcher it, but it's like Julianson or something. He's got the open world record in equipped for the deadlift, I think.
So this would have been under 20 kilos and junior.
I was under 120, yeah.
22, were you?
I was 22, I think, yeah.
Wow.
But yeah, warming up, I remember going over to the rack and it was him, and there was Victor Samuelson as the other guy. He's insanely strong. But I remember just like thinking, Jesus, like this is mental. Like these are the same age as me, and they're like literal giants. Like it's mad. It's really mad. Like the whole atmosphere and.
Were they getting properly psyched up because the Icelandics love it?
Not really. It was
No?
It was pretty chill. Yeah, there was a guy, and I can't again remember his name. I remember his first name was Kevin. Can't remember his surname, but he had an insane bench. He had the junior world record and the open world record. He was a German guy, and someone will know his name. I can't remember. But he benched. I'm sure it was over 400 kilos as a junior. Wow. I'm sure it was like 410. I might be wrong, or it was something insane. If not, it was very close.
It was a junior and an open. Yeah, it
was like a junior and an open. Yeah,
if it was around there. That's
under 120s.
Yeah, Kevin. He's from Germany. I can't remember his name, man.
Scott will bring it up.
Yeah, you'll be able to find it.
I'll have a little look. German guy.
Yeah, and there was also the Ukrainian Alexander. Is it Rublets or something like that? Again, I don't want to butcher the names. And that was insane seeing that. And I think he was in the under 105 juniors, and he squatted 405, and that was an open world record.
You see now the Ukrainian Pavlo.
Is he the 120 plus?
Yeah, he's classic.
Luke Richardson?
That exact comp when Luke pipped him by like a kilo.
Yeah, that's insane.
I don't know if you've ever seen him at a comp being younger in doing comps. Being Ukrainian, I thought maybe he'd have a background in equipped lifting, but obviously not if you've not seen him.
No, I mean, I that was the only worlds I'd done as a junior, so but yeah, that was insane. And that the Ukrainian who squatted, it was 405 or 410. It was something insane. He was in the under 105s, but he weighed in at like 96 kilos.
My God,
he was really light. It was absolutely insane, man. A lot of the lifters you see there are just insane. Like it's especially the American team as well. Like they've got such a massive culture for powerlifting, which is really awesome. And there's a few guys that I still speak to now that I met there that I'm friends with, which is again why I love powerlifting. Again, with you guys, like you meet people that you're friends with, and it's a big thing for me. It's like just meeting decent people that are wanting the same thing and that. And,
true. And
I remember that, even a few of them had been powerlifting since they were like 12 or something.
Oh my goodness!
They sort of as where we do PE at school, they get like powerlifting even at like primary school and stuff like that.
Their weight rooms, they really love all that. Like strength training, like a gym coach or gym teacher over there will literally help them do like cleans and benches and all the staple moves.
Yeah,
do you think that's kind of something missing from sort of like, we're going to not go off topic a little bit, but do you think that's something missing from UK schools, is the sort of sports development side of things? Because I know that Chris is a teacher, but in certain schools they're going to have it, but in a majority of schools it's kind of PE's PE. You're just going to kind of go through the motions of football. You can play a bit of rugby, you maybe do a bit
games,
of basketball,
athletics, that sort of thing. Yeah, it's always going to be missing. I mean, there's just not enough weightlifting in professional sport, in schools, and all sorts of aspects. So weightlifting in general, strength training should be in everyone's lives, but it's just very difficult to get it all out there. There are lots of state schools and private schools with really great facilities. It's just having, if when schools get funding, it obviously goes through the curriculum leads and budget and whatever, and they've got to figure out what the best way to use the money. And schools do get a lot of money, but then to say we need this even though it'd be much cheaper to build a powerlifting gym than have a fitness suite with all the machines that are pretty much useless anyway. I think the money's, it comes down to, there's all sorts of ways that the progress of the school would be developed greater if they put it into other areas. And we're just sort of sat here going, what about PE? What about enrichment in that area? And everyone's sort of going, well, you've got loads of PE and you do all the sports. So it'd be very difficult to then introduce a whole new sport into the curriculum, and the whole ethos of like what PE is. It's just, and it's different cultures, isn't it? America, they've got that side, like Sam said, that they've just got such a culture for it. Over here, we're more games and like your hockey, your rugby, your football, and that's what we're more oriented to. And also weightlifting ties in great with American football, and that's their massive drive over there. Whereas if you start saying to a lot of uneducated coaches, do weightlifting is for football, they're not going to listen. So our football doesn't really relate a lot to, in people's minds, to strength training and conditioning.
Guys, just so you know, Kevin Yeager benched 356 at that meet.
Oh, it was 356. I'm way off.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Which is still the highest in the meet, regardless of weight class.
Wow. Yeager, what a name.
Yeah.
It's class.
I think as well, like with the schools and stuff, I think a lot of things in the UK are so old fashioned, and it's hard to get any change. It's same as laws and a lot of things like that. We're so set in our old ways. It's quite hard to progress, I think.
Yeah, the UK is really resistant to change, but keep doing what like you just said. You want to be around people that have got what's that term? The same interests, and you just got to do that. Work with the people that you want to go and see and lift with them, rather than wait for everyone else to catch up.
I think like it's a big thing for a lot of people. It's easier said than done as well, but try and obviously exactly what you say. You do what you can in your life to surround yourself with what you want to do and that sort of thing, right? But I think it's still worth taking note of what's going on, saying in the rest of the world and stuff like that.
Yeah, totally,
but
absolutely.
It's sort of hard to not get too caught up in it at the same time as well, especially in these days. And you read into so much stuff, and I think a lot of the time you just need to concentrate on you and your circle of friends and family, and just sort of make that bubble sort of as best as you can, sort of thing.
Yeah, you can't get wrapped up in stuff because it's just like, it's the age of information. Everyone seems to have all the information at your fingertips. It's about being able to concisely focus on yourself and not get overwhelmed.
Yeah, it's insane. It is impressive as anything, like technology, and it really is, but it's also really scary. Like I started watching Social Dilemma on Netflix the other day, and it's like how social media is like it's a really good watch, but it's quite scary in a way. Like the stuff they're sort of saying about how like social media is sort of designed to basically control people because of the AI and like the information it puts out that you're looking at, and it sort of monitors all of that, and it's insane. It's really insane. And it's stuff like that, when you start looking too much into it, I think you need to like just chill out and just focus on it. It's easier said than done as well, like anything like that, but focus on your own life and who you spend your time with and that sort of thing, really.
Yeah.
So how's it gone since Four Nations then? So after that sort of like real peak in your
Four
career?
Nations, that was awesome. That was 2015, was it? I think.
Oh no, sorry, Worlds 2016.
So Worlds.
After that,
so Worlds 2016. I had a bit of a bad. I said bad comp. It was amazing. The whole thing was amazing. My numbers were pretty pants, but I had to like weight cut again because I was fatty and I like food, but it wasn't too bad. I just lived off cheese and sausages in Poland, which was pretty good.
They all do over there.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It was amazing. The little town. It was like I think it was on the. I'm not sure if it was the southern side of Poland. Like, I was all in the mountains. It was an old ski resort place.
Oh wow!
The hotel was super Soviet as well. It was really fun. Like,
yeah.
It was literally like going back to the 70s. It was really epic. It was really
like a little alpine house type thing.
It was like an alpine hotel. It almost reminded me of like The Shining a little bit, with like the hotel up on the hill.
Ace.
It wasn't like that scary.
No, not.
It's like Jack Nicholson running around the hotel. hotel before you meet.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I'm sure he's ran through a few hotels though.
Yeah, he's done a few of them.
Pretty sure that's the under 73 kilo lifters running around the hotel.
Yeah. So yeah, that was 2016. Amazing experience, not great numbers. But that was in the September, I think.
Right.
Yeah, the very end of August, start of September for Worlds, and then I came
Got a
back.
720 total, didn't you?
No, not at Worlds. I don't know what I got. I can't remember what I got at Worlds. It was way below what I wanted. But I remember, like, clear as day, I'd warmed up and I'd never done this ever. I'd come up on a warm up and stumbled back on my heel. I think it was just nerves. I'd never done that, and I ended up doing that on the platform actually on one of my lifts.
Wow.
But I remember distinctly after my last warm up, I was sat in the like with the chairs waiting to get my knee wrapped, and I had Dean Bowen wrapping my knees, which was epic as well.
What?
And I remember just sitting there, and he was like, "Yeah, right, like 5 minutes," and I was thinking, "Yeah, 5 minutes, I feel all right." And then I was just this. I've never felt nerves like it. I thought I was going to throw up. I was so nervous. It was insane, man. And then
That's because you wanted it so bad.
Started wrapping your knees, and it's just like, oh shit, like I'm gonna have to go and do this. So it was mad. It was so epic though. Like really, really grateful I got to experience that as well. But yeah, so we went from there. I didn't do too well, and then I had a comp in December of that year after Worlds, and I came back from Worlds and
East Midlands Opens, was it?
Yeah, I think it was East Midlands Opens, and
Yeah,
and I didn't really sort of structure any proper programming into that comp. I just sort of done bits and bobs, and I think it was my best comp. I think.
Yeah.
Was it 775?
775, yeah. 300 kilos squat, 200 bench, 275 deadlift.
Yeah, that was a really good meet, and I felt I had more in the tank left there as well. Like, I'll tell you what was funny about that meet, because me and Danny, obviously from Mammoth, bless him, he was lifting as well, and like because we trained together for all of the comps we done, we would always train together equipped, and we said when we get down there, it's like because obviously you don't if you're playing Sumner, and he's like I'm some mad mutant, but for me, like I was used to having Danny wrap my knees, get me in my suit, and I'd do the same for him, whatever. And I was thinking, hold on a minute, like however the flights work, I'm gonna have to. I don't know how it's gonna work. Anyway, so when I was trying to warm up for squats, and I'd have to go out and wrap his knees for his attempt.
Oh no!
He'd do his attempt. I'd come back in. I'd do another warm up. Then, like, I had to go out again, wrap his knees. So that went on for that. And then I was like,
you were blowing.
I was blowing, and then I was like, shit, who's going to wrap my knees? Because he's warming up for bench. And then, luckily, man, like Andy Champ. That's how I met Andy Champ
wow,
at that comp, and he said, "Oh," and again, a beautiful thing about powerlifting, and he said, "Oh, like it was the first time I've met him and spoke to him a bit," and I said, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna have to wrap my own knees." I said, "I'm helping Danny, and I'm now helping him in his bench shirt, and I've now got to go out for my first attempt. I've got to wrap my own fucking knees. I'm gonna be like blowing, like it's not an excuse, but I'm just not used to it." And that Andy was like, "Well, I'll stay and help you until the end of the comp," and I was like, "Oh man, like that'd be amazing."
Wow. So
yeah, he wrapped my knees for that, and then got round to bench, and the same thing happened again. I didn't even get in my it's mental. Like, I was helping Danny warm up and then going out for his attempt. So I'd like pull the shirt down and make sure it was sitting right and stuff. And I was doing some warm ups, and then I was just like, I still haven't got my shirt on, and it's like not that long. So the last lift I hit in the warm up, it was 140 to like a 4-board or something.
Right.
Something like really, really, really high. And then I think I opened on
180.
I must have opened on 180.
What?
And I remember to this day thinking, like, I got all my squats in as well, and I was thinking, I don't know how that's happened, but it just went right on the day. And I remember unracking that, and like, because I'd sort of handled that weight in training a fair bit to boards and stuff. I've done a lot of board work, so you get used to that weight. And I remember unracking in that comp, just thinking, "Fucking hell, this is heavy!" Like, it was.
You've not felt anything like near it.
It was such a jump from 140 to the 180 at the time, and I was just like, "Oh god!" And yeah, luckily it just went well, and you just get it done. And I think sometimes it really pays for that mental sort of fortitude in things. Like, I remember Mike always used to drill into me, it's 50% physical and 50% mental. And when I was like way younger, I'm like, no, just cane the weights and just get really strong. And again, like what you said earlier, there's so much learning in each comp. Like, you never stop learning, and it's insane. And I don't know if it's more so in equipped, and I don't want to like say that as a fact, but I think there's so much more variables you're dealing with. I mean, even I've had it in comps where the bar's been misloaded or the weight's been dropped and your knee wraps are on, and then you're just waiting for that to happen.
Yeah,
I remember Danny's last comp in Manchester. That was multiply at the ABPU, and I can't remember what attempt he was going. I think it was for his third attempt, so he was pretty like battered from the first two, and the guy dumped the bar. It was like, I think he dumped like 260 something off his back onto the floor, and I've just cranked some 3 meter knee wraps on his knees, and his legs were going blue. Like, I swear to God, his legs were going blue, and it's just like, oh man, like there's so many variables, and that's what I really liked about it. It's sort of like that on top of sort of the nerves of unracking heavier weights and stuff, and I don't know. I just liked it because it was a more old school as well. I just love the equip side. I love raw as well, but just really enjoyed getting into the equip with all the little technical tweaks and
it just sat well with you, and you just wanted.
I think Mike was a massive part of that as well. Like, being my first coach, and he'd always lifted single ply since the 70s, I think, or like late 70s, early 80s. So it's sort of like, I just really took to that side more than anything, I think. But yeah, that comp was, at the time I was thinking, shit, like I'm going to cock this up because I can't even wrap my own knees and stuff. And it's weird how things can work out.
For a couple of comps, I've wrapped my brother's knees. And the reason I knew you'd be blowing is because you wrap one, and I was literally, it was abroad as well. And it was really hot.
Yeah.
And I was wrapped as tight as I could get him. I didn't want his legs to even move. I was going to do this super tight. I was wrapping them. And literally, it destroys you. It's really hard work.
It gets your elbows as well. It can get your elbows a fair bit. But yeah, that was what was that, 2016? I think my last comp was the British seniors in 2017.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
and I lifted like a piece of shit. It's really bad, and that was my last. That's the last comp I'd done. Is that one? And that really was just like, it's so bad that I haven't ended, but that last comp, I've not done one since. But again, I'd done a water cut. I cut like about 8 kilos in a week. Like,
I don't think that's just water cut. Just cutting's just not the thing for powerlifting,
and not equipped as well. Because I remember putting my bench shirt on, and it felt like I had a tent on. It's just like there's no. It was really bad. It was a bad comp, but again, you learn from that, and it's what it's all about. Just constantly learning and stuff like that.
I'm desperate to do one next year, and on the subject of like cutting, there's just no way I'm cutting weight. Like whatever, when I choose to do it, and you fill in your application, you get that in, so you've got maybe 10, 12 weeks to go. Whatever weight I am, that's what I'm going to say. I'm competing. Yeah. I'm just going to try and keep the weight, and just even if I've got to be a 105 because I'm around 98 kilos now, so.
Yeah, it's just not worth it.
No, it's not. You'll be weaker, and you won't know. I think my first couple of comps, I was probably lucky. Wasn't heavy, so I was only around 81, 82 anyway, so it's quite lucky. But when you start to develop and gain knowledge and train harder, you're going to put on weight, and then you think you're Brett Gibbs and you can cut a couple of kilos. You can't. Yeah. You just be weak as hell, and it's just not good enough. So I'm just going to get stronger and bigger. That's the idea. Not everyone's as efficient and built like these freak shows, so you've just got to get better in your own way.
Yeah, I think a lot of it is to do with that as well. And I think unless you're going for like world records, all-time records, like I don't see the point like of cutting into like
go have fun at a meet. Go have fun.
That's the thing. It used to have fun. Yeah, it's
don't cut 10 kilos, add 5 to your total, and come from 6th to 5th.
Yeah.
The overall, it's not worth it.
Who was that?
Oh no, that's just the example. Probably
right.
Me. Let's face it, it'd probably be me.
That's sort of pants because I haven't lifted since then. Like, the thing I said to you boys, are my heart issues I got in 2018.
Yeah.
So that's kept me out till pretty much now.
So you're advised to sort of not lift, let your heart issue even itself out or improve. And you feel like you want to lift now, or is it still not something that you're doing?
I'll mix, man. I don't know. Yeah, like that really changed. I say changed my view. It was really weird, man. Like, because I think a lot of you, I don't know if you can relate, but when you're lifting, and at the time, it was such a shitty time. It was just after we lost Danny as well.
Right.
I think it was 2 weeks afterwards, and then I was in the ACU unit, the acute cardiac unit, and just wired up in there for a week. And yeah, that was the thing was myopericarditis. It was a virus attacked, like I think it's a muscle sac around your heart. I think the pericardium is or something.
Right.
And yeah, like he said, I was pretty lucky to get the symptoms because a lot of young people don't get the symptoms.
Oh wow.
You sort of would go on to then die from a huge heart attack. So
Jesus.
I got really lucky, man, like super lucky. But yeah, before that, you wouldn't believe it. I was doing a lot of running and I didn't really lift that much. And I cut down to probably about 110 kilos. And I was normally sitting around 120 to 125.
What?
Yeah, and I was running loads,
Epic.
and I actually was planning to try and get in a half marathon, and I'd really got into it and stuff. And then yeah, that all happened, and it sort of, it was weird, like on the discharge sheet from the hospital, because they are amazing, like, and they really looked after me, and they sort of fixed me and saved me and everything. But on the discharge sheet, it just said like, "Oh, rest for 4 weeks." And I'm like, oh, cool. I'll be up and running in 4 weeks and ease back into things. And then obviously, yeah, it's not that simple. Like, because the virus attacked the pericardium and that caused loads of scar damage, scar tissue, I think it is.
Yeah.
The way the cardiologist said it was sort of like, it's basically like you think of it as a muscle tear, but on your, like the sort of muscle of your heart. So it's a lot more serious. But yeah, it was just a really long, hard time. Like, I think it made it harder losing Danny and then not being able to train.
That sounds impossible, mate.
A lot of people use training as a
coping mechanism.
Yeah, and like if you train and you enjoy it, you really enjoy it, you want to train, and the cardiologist said as well, he's like, the worst case, because I said, what is worst case scenario? And he's like, well, like worst case, you won't be able to really exercise properly again if it doesn't heal. Because the scar tissue, if that doesn't heal itself, then that will be like super weak, and then you'd be at a higher chance for like a bigger heart attack. So I was like, oh, cool. So I had basically a year of waiting for an MRI result after, like, I had 6 months, and then I had to wait another year for the results for that MRI. And then that actually had cleared up a bit, and then I had to have another couple of MRIs and like constant tests, like blood pressure monitors and like 24-hour like wires that do all your, I don't really know what they've done. They sort of like monitor your heart rhythms and stuff like that. So it was pretty gnarly. Like, and I think you always think nothing like that's ever going to happen to you. That's what I was trying to get onto. I rabbled on a bit, but like, you sort of think you're invincible. Like, I remember when I was running and stuff and still lifting, and I felt really good, and I was just like, I remember one day I ran like 5 or 6 mile run, which was like, for me at the time, was pretty good at like 110 kilos.
That's pretty solid, yeah.
And then the next day I came in the gym and still pulled like 270. And like without a month or so of training, I'd just been running. And it's just like, I feel like I felt so good. And then, yeah, that sort of really changed the way I look at things, like quite a lot. And that's sort of making me, I don't know, if I do want to lift again, but I'm also still scared. Like,
right,
something
still in that period of like,
it's hard, man.
Not too sure.
Yeah, it's hard from going to feeling that invincible, as stupid as it sounds, but really good, and like you can take on anything. And to that, it's still really hard psychologically, even though I have pretty much got the all clear. I had my MRI, I had a results again this year. And
well, if you've got the all clear, mate, it's just about
my own
let that
psyche.
sit with you well, and then start to think about the best ways to approach it, speak to the right people, and like you've got us to always to talk to, and everything. You've got all your mates from the gym as well. So I think this might be a slow process, but you just take it your own time and don't feel rushed into it.
I think that's the thing. I think I felt rushed when I sort of had the all clear to train again, and it's like, I think I've had so long out, I need to really try and cut my weight down and build a base again. And if I get back to powerlifting competitively at any point, I need to really build up that like that point. I mean, it's really stupid, and I shouldn't have done it. But midway through, after my first MRI, so I knew it wasn't as bad as it was, and I still done some equip sessions in the gym.
Right.
Like done some heavy board pressing, like in multiply shirts and stuff, and it's sort of like it's a bit dumb, but it's hard not to when everyone's there, and it's weird. Like you feel that, like you can like the smell of chalk and deep heat. It's like a warm up
Yeah.
room, isn't it? And you're just like,
Yeah.
oh fuck, like.
Or maybe you told yourself, "Oh, I'm not going to go to a max. I'm just going to do it," and
Yeah.
it's just all sort of things you tell yourself.
Yeah, it's like it's hard because I've not lost a massive amount of strength, which is quite nice, but I've just not got the conditioning or the recovery. Like I remember doing a heavy board press and it just wiped me out like for 4 days. I was just like,
Wow.
just trying to. So I think I really need to strip things back and build it up and eat healthier because I've always ate pretty poorly. So I need to really dial in a few things if I'm to compete again. But I think as well, I'm just going to see what happens and try not overthink it and just take each day as it comes more now than planning too much.
And if you're always speaking to the right doctors and stuff, and they're always saying like you're still in good shape, heart's still looking good, then you can, as long as you keep that conversation with them going, then you're in the right direction. And the tighter you are with those, the less likely it is that you're going to go off the rails a little bit to lift too much or to test yourself a bit too much and then get an injury. So I think as long as you keep a tight conversation with your doctors, it's all going to be good. But it's in your own time, mate. I reckon it's going to be good for you as long as you're just making the right decisions for yourself.
Yeah, I think it's like you say, it's just a slow process, isn't it? And not stop trying to run before you can walk. I think it's hard knowing where you were and you think you can do that, and it's just like, nah, you can't. Like,
yeah. How old are you now?
I'm 27.
27. So, I mean, you're not going to hit your peak strength, whether you get back into it or not, or whatever happens. You're not going to hit your peak strength till early mid 30s. So you've got plenty of time, mate. It's just about giving yourself that space and making sure you're making the right decision.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. I do miss it. Like I say, the comps and that are amazing. Like, it was always so good. Like, I remember like the build up to comps and knowing you boys are there, and it's sort of like, oh yeah, like it's almost like a little mini Christmas a few times a year because you get to see
exactly
mates
right.
you don't see.
And you can't have comps unless you're at a gym like yours. You can't have that comp feeling every week like you can with a football game, rugby game, whatever it is. Athletics is weird because that's only like a 3-month season, so that's similar to powerlifting. But yeah, you don't get it too often, and it's like if you're not training with your mates, you're only going to see them at comps. It's not. That's what I mean. I think it should get to the point where you can do comps more often, even if it's just test yourself rather than say, "Oh, this is my balls to the walls comp." Have them more often, and like let's get out there and like it's just about planning them like mock meets. Get more of those out there, and then everyone can turn up and have more fun.
Yeah, 100%. I think it's good as well. Like if you're a newer lifter to just get to every comp you can. I've done that my first year, I think. Like,
yeah, you did the opposite to me. I thought I knew it a little bit, and I was like, and there was a couple of comps come up, and I just sort of told myself because I was like busy with the previous job I was doing, teaching, and I had 2 jobs at the time anyway. And I sort of told myself, oh, work's a bit busy. I don't need to do a comp. I should have just turned up and done it. It's just like silly things you tell yourself when you're 24 and you're like, oh, I don't need to do it. It's fine. But I should have just done every single comp.
Yeah.
Traveled up and down. Because so you might know if you want to do a comp, say like in the southeast, or if you want to do like one at the north or like near Manchester, do you lift as a guest even though you're not in that region?
Yeah, so unless anything's changed, guys, because I'm a bit out of the loop. A lot of things have changed since I've had a look into things. But I think when I was still lifting in comps, you could, if the comp wasn't full, I think you could apply and then lift as a guest.
Right.
I think.
Fair enough.
So yeah, even that's another thing. Like, even if there's not one locally, like I mean, I live out in Suffolk, so we're like the arse end of nowhere, and it's sort of really hard to get anywhere.
You're the most easterly town.
Yeah,
that's where the gym is. You're Yarmouth, aren't you?
No, the gym's in Lowestoft, so
yeah.
Yeah, I don't live there, which is pretty all right. Like, I live in a nice little village, like nice and out of the way, living my hermit life, which is good.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think just get to comps as well. Yeah, 100%. Just enjoy it, and you stuff like this. You meet friends, and you do really meet them for life. Like, if you carry on powerlifting and stuff.
Yeah. How's the lads at the gym then? How are they getting on? When when you've been able to lift, obviously, because we've had a couple of lockdowns. How is it in the gym? Like, what's it like?
It's amazing, man. Yeah, it's really cool. Like,
So who runs it now? Do you all sort of like chip in?
yeah, so it's mainly like Danny's brother Jamie and Danny's mum Sue.
Wow.
Sue runs a lot of mental health stuff out of the gym, and there's a charity as well, Lift Lad for Danny charity,
Sick.
and they're trying to. I believe Sue's trying to get enough like funding and money to open like I think it's like a crisis center, sort of in Lowestoft for like people in crisis, like when it's needed, because there's not really much around our way for that. Like you sort of, I mean, it's funding, and there's loads of things like why there's not the money there, and I think not. I don't know if I'm guilty for it myself, but like I think people know like suicide and stuff is really bad. Like as a human, you know that's bad, but I think unless it directly affects you sort of personally or to that sort of level, it's sort of different, and you do look at it differently, and you do want more change for it. Like it's weird like that. It changes your views on things and stuff.
Wow.
Yeah, hopefully.
I can't remember because I did. We had to deliver something for the school recently, and I had to deliver it to my students. And it was, I can't remember, so I'm probably going to get the stats wrong. I think it's 4 and 5 suicides of men as well.
It's very big, yeah. It's
very high numbers for men versus
women. For men, yeah, well over women. I think it comes a lot from ultimately, just to sort of like simplify, I suppose, is like hiding feelings and not really talk about things enough. And
I mean, I think you're brought up with that kind of just be a man, man up. It's like, that's where the saying is, isn't it? It's just man up. And that's not the appropriate way to be looking at things in
it must
any
feel
time.
like you're crushing yourself from like the inside, people like that.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't mind, Sam, what I mean, I don't know anything about this. So what happened, if you don't mind getting into it, or if you
No, I'm completely cool. No. I'm trying to think where to start with it all. What was up with Danny, and what led to what happened? Or
I mean, what happened with Danny? So sort of start things off, I suppose.
I think it stemmed. He had a motorbike crash, I think, is what caused a lot of like the depression and stuff. And I hope that's not wrong, but I think that is. And he was.
That's your opinion, mate. You're allowed to talk about it. It's not...
Yeah, no. I just don't want to get it wrong. I'm sure that's right there, and he was autistic as well. And you probably wouldn't have really been able to tell if he was. He was pretty high functioning and stuff. And I think that's why he really.
I would never have guessed that.
Yeah, and I think that's why he really loved powerlifting as well. Like, you just get texts in the middle of the night about fucking West Side or some bench shirt or some shit, and you're just like, oh fucking hell, like you're trying to sleep.
Like the narrow, intense interest.
Yeah.
Definitely an autistic trait.
Yeah, massively, and I think the suicide rates are higher in autistic people as well. I think males again. I think the suicide rates is quite high as well. Yeah. In autistic males, like quite scarily high. Yeah, it's. But and I'm sure another thing that caused a lot of Danny's issues was he had a motorbike crash years ago, quite a long time ago, and I think it's something called post-concussion syndrome. I don't know if you want to Google that and double check or anything.
Yep.
And that caused a lot of issues with Danny as well. And he went through the lines of help that are there and stuff, and I don't know. It's just not enough. Like, I know there's not. I just wish there was more. Like, at certain times when things happened, like, I think there should sort of be more in place for people in crisis and stuff.
Yeah,
I couldn't agree more.
It's really tough. Like, and I think maybe for the police as well. Like, if they could get more training for that sort of thing. Like, not knocking the police at all. Like, they do amazing
we
stuff.
know you're not, but
I think in that sort of job, I think because a lot of the time it is like this individual's in crisis, you call the police. Like, who would you call? There's no other. This sort of like you call the police or whatever.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think they need a bit more like training to try and help that sort of thing, and like a safer place for people like that to go when they're in need. Like because the only place that they normally get taken to is a cell to sort of come round and stuff, or like the mental health sort of hospitals and stuff. But they don't seem to do a massive amount in them. Well, not round our way anyway.
It seems because you're saying like him coming back round and then he's back to Danny when he would be better. Just off what you're talking about there, it seems like there's a lot done to keep people there and try and improve them in the long run. But maybe it's difficult for those people that would go in and out of care, and it's quite hard to sort of the superficial, the ones that sort of jump in and out. It's quite difficult for those. I know people that have got bipolar, or they might have episodes, they might have like psychosis. It seems like they struggle because it's like, well, we think you're okay now. Let's back to normal life with whatever we've got in place. So I think it's the ones that jump in and out, it becomes very difficult for them.
Yeah, I think when it comes to sort of police force as well, is, you know, they're only briefly trained on the areas they're meant to be, you know, enforcing. So then when they get called out to sort of mental health issues or people who are suicidal, to them, they're probably like, well, you know, what do I do? It's from that side of things. They need to have some kind of expert that says, you know, these are the sort of things you need to watch out for. These are the sort of things you need to be trying to put in place. For example, we've got, is it St. Mary's around here? So someone correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, in Kettering.
Which is, you know, for people who may be suffering from mental health or, you know, suicidal thoughts and things like that. But it's just a case of getting them in and then just waiting, waiting to see what the outcome is and what the doctors say about it. But, you know, it's very hard. I mean, they're so thinly spread now that, you know, they're first aiders, they're first responders, they're firefighters, they're trained for pretty much every scenario rather than being an expert in one scenario now. And I just think that's kind of maybe a little bit where the service is lacking, not necessarily from the police, but in general that we don't have.
It's hard to be perfect all the time. I think they do like a fantastic job.
They do a brilliant job. Absolutely. Brilliant job.
It's hard for anyone, even if you are an expert in dealing with people that are, you know, in crisis or whatever it is. I think even those people would find it hard to get to and perform perfectly in every situation. So it's just a case of that's the help there. And yeah, like Sam says, it needs to improve, but I think it will improve with greater knowledge, greater education of everyone knowing about certain conditions. So more people find an interest and want to help people, and also breaks down a bit of the stigma around mental health. If everyone can be on board, have a greater understanding about it, and then the stigma will start to come down, hopefully.
Yeah, I think as well, like, 'cause it seems to be like in this country, you've got like within the NHS, there's obviously you've got all your healthcare and stuff, and then in your mental health is separate, which I do sort of get, but I don't know, like, I almost think it should just be merged. Like, I think they're both so important, and they should be in like a sort of harmony in a way. Like, instead of splitting them up, I think this sort of causing too much a divide. Like, I think they sort of run together, sort of trying to explain what I mean. Like,
I think I know what you mean. Yeah, I mean, I couldn't tell you how it all runs, to be honest. So you definitely know more than me, anyway.
But yeah, I think they should just be more in unison than being split up as to two things and dividing it. Like, because they're both so important with each other, right? Like,
yeah.
But I mean, hopefully things will get better. But I don't know. I just think it's just going to take so much time. I think it'll take a long time, and I think it'll be like a lot of funding and stuff through like charities and things like that. I think will probably push through with that more than anything.
Yeah.
But I think, I mean, it's pretty amazing at the gym now, though, like how busy it is and like the atmosphere and stuff. Like, that's really unique.
Yeah.
And that sort of gives you like quite a proud feeling, like being so close to Danny and his passion for powerlifting and helping people and stuff.
Yeah.
That sort of like Mammoth's almost like a little mental health hub, as you like. Like, there's a lot of people there with issues and stuff, like which is the same as most gyms, I'd imagine. Like, 'cause you go there, like you say, it's coping mechanisms, and you feel better for training and stuff. and a lot of people I think benefit from that, like especially around our way as well. And I think he'd be really buzzing with that, like if he was here, like especially all the powerlifters in there, like because when we were lifting, it was like again back in like 2013, 14, 15, it wasn't as popular, and it's like there was only a couple of us powerlifting in there. Like now you'll go down there on a Saturday and a Sunday, and then you got like the lads and girls coming over from Norwich, or people have come up from London and trained, and
Wow.
there's just been like like the powerlifting part of the gym at the back, like all the monolift and stuff, and it's just rammed, and I love it. Like there's just shit everywhere, just plates everywhere, chalk, bags,
Yeah, it's full of chaos, isn't it?
and it's just like it's so cool. Like it's such a unique atmosphere compared to other gyms. So that is a nice little touch with it, really.
So do you say they're trying to sort of like put a little organisation together for the mental health side of things?
Well, Sue's got the charity, Danny's mum, Lift Loud for Danny, and I think that's on Instagram and Facebook and stuff, so you can probably find that. And I think her plan is she wants to eventually, have a separate building from the gym, maybe as like a crisis centre. So there'll be a team there. I guess a lot of the time, like 24-hour support for people can call that number, like you say, if they're suicidal and stuff like that, and there'll
Like
be
mental health rapid response.
Yeah, literally that, and there'll be trained sort of practitioners there that can help. Like, I remember Sue was saying to me once that Danny called like one of the numbers that he got given if he felt he was in crisis and stuff, and it's sort of like they just sort of read questions to ask like off a sheet.
They have a script, and
it's like, oh, have you tried calling a friend and all this stuff, and it's just like there needs to be like more than, you can't just read off a script when it's someone's sort of like could be someone's life. Do you know what I mean? It's hard. Like, I know there's obviously all these different variables and things like that, but hopefully that will go ahead at some point. I really do, because I think it'll be such a big thing for the community. And I think as well in Suffolk and Norfolk, there's a very high rate of suicides as well, I think.
Well, listen, if they ever want to...
areas.
Sorry, go on, Scott.
No, so it's just saying in those remote areas, and just going back to a point that Sam was saying earlier, it shouldn't be kept separate. I feel like if you die 999, if you break a leg, you're going to get put in touch with health professionals to help you physically. I think someone should be there mentally as well. You've got the police, you've got the fire, you've got the hospital. I think there should be something there for mental health.
Agreed.
Which I think for the UK, I think that would be something, next step above and beyond, kind of, especially now. And during lockdown, I think it's became very apparent, being reclused and stuff like that. I mean, I suffer from some mental health problems, and, we have had friends as well that have passed away to suicide, and you just kind of wished that mainstream thing was there and you didn't get a list of numbers.
I think, I don't know, it's hard, isn't it? It's really difficult.
I mean, and it affects you in such a way that you don't realize it's going to affect you either. I mean,
100%.
You lose somebody, and if you lose somebody normally, old age or illness or something like that, you kind of, it doesn't hit you in the same way a suicide seems to hit you. Suicide seems to hit you in such a way that, I mean, even to this day, I lost somebody I was very close with when I was at school, and even to this day, I still struggle to come to terms with the fact that person is no longer here anymore.
Yeah, it's the denial. I don't know if you say like the denial of it as well. Like, for me anyway, it was it was mad. I was away in Brighton as well at my friend's house when I found out about it, so that was really crazy. And I remember it's just pure denial at the start, like when I found the news, it's just pure denial.
Yeah,
it took me a long time. It took me a very long time to not be angry about it and process it more. Like you say, I've lost grandparents that have lived with us, and stuff, and you're really close to old people, and like you say, it's still bad, like people dying of cancers and horrible other things, but I couldn't think of anything worse than losing someone that you're really close with to suicide, I think, because just unanswered questions and could you have done things differently? And
I was literally just about to say that to me, that's what kept going through my head. I mean, this is somebody I was very close to through school, and I started wrestling with them. That's kind of who I entered into the wrestling world with. And for me, it was I was exactly the same as you. When I got told about it, I was like, don't believe it. I went on to every social media platform I could find to find out if it was true. And I was looking through everyone's profile, and I was like, nope, don't believe it. When it finally came out, it was true. It was like, could I have picked up, if I'd have just picked up the phone, would that have made a difference?
Yeah.
If I'd have just messaged on that one day, would that have made a difference?
Yeah, there's a lot of that. Like, there's a lot with Danny as well. Like towards when did he die? It was the June or the July. I can't remember. And it's that same thing because he started drinking a lot more and he was doing really well, and like things sort of got a bit worse for him, so he sort of started to drink a little bit more, and there's sometimes like that I think, oh, should you have gone to the pub and saw him? Or there's been so many times and I even thought as well, there was one night I was speaking to him, and it's probably daft and it's weird when you look back on these times, and this is when I was running loads more. We were talking about training and stuff like that. And I remember he was saying like, oh yeah, we're going to get strong as fuck, like really push things and that. And at the time, like, I think he was so obsessed with helping other people so much. He almost did, not that he didn't help himself, but I think he just found it harder to help himself, I guess. Like he gave the best advice.
Yeah,
like,
priority was other people.
Yeah, like the amount of people that he'd helped ran the gym and stuff is phenomenal. Like he really did leave a legacy with that, which is really awesome. But yeah, there's times like that, and I remember saying that I was like, "Oh, we'll just concentrate on getting you sorted and that." And I always think, "Oh, should I have said that?" Because he's so like adamant of getting like helping other people and stuff. And I went through that, and I struggled with that a long time for things like that. And I think you do just come to terms with it, and you just deal with it better. It's just such a weird thing to try and explain, like, because like you say, it's so different to losing anyone any other way. But I think you just learn to deal with it differently as time goes on, right? Like,
did you ever read up on loss and that sort of thing, or did you just sort of all in your own way in your own conversation with people?
I got I brought a book. I actually got it here. I didn't know it was on there. Lost Connections.
Oh wow!
And this is really good. This is Why You're Depressed and How to Find Hope, and it's really interesting, and it goes into like the sort of medicinal side of things, like getting prescribed these antidepressants and things that sort of mask the problem a lot. I know they do help a lot of people, but from experience and people I've spoke to, and you need to find the root of why you're feeling how you're feeling, right? And and I don't think you can really truly do that if you're just masking it. And do you know what I mean? It's hard to say because you don't want to offend them people that have used them, and it has helped. I know people that it's helped, but I think there needs to be a better way of dealing with mental health as a whole than just popping pills. Same as anything. I was speaking to Danny's brother tonight, actually, Jamie. I went round there and we were food prepping together because we're really cute like that on a Sunday. And we were saying about like if you go to the doctors or something and you've got like like if you're starting to get diabetes or something, they just thump these pills at you. It's like sort your diet out, or like there's a lot of other ways to normally try and fix things apart from just popping tablets. I
think doctors don't trust anyone to have patience. So if it's like someone's got diabetes and whatever drugs they're going to give them for that to control blood sugar or whatever it might be, it's like, well, how about you put them in contact with someone? There are GP referrals for personal trainers and sports people. You could say you need to take up a hobby that gets you really active, like squash or a game or something, or running, that's going to get you going. Instead of them thinking someone's got the patience and the time to do that, globally, it seems that people don't have the resilience and the time and the perseverance to go through that. So it is a global problem of chemicals seem to be the answer for a lot of things.
Yeah,
it's mad. It's really mad.
Well, listen, Sam, if they ever want to come on and talk about, what they're doing with the charity or anything like that, they are more than welcome. The more mental health things we get to cover on this podcast, the better. It's something that comes up quite regularly, especially from our listeners. They send a lot of questions in about mental health. So we're more than happy to, have people on and talk about that sort of stuff.
That's really awesome, man. Like, I think Sue and Jamie would probably be really up for that. Like, I think it's good as well, like doing this sort of thing, and you reach more people, and they're interested in mental health as well. Like, it's so important. Like, again, like you say, you get told to man up, and and like for me as well, like my dad was in the army, and I always looked at him and like he's never said like, "Oh, man up" and stuff like that, but to look at him and it's like he was in for like 15 years or whatever, and he's quite emotionless.
Yeah,
and it's sort of like I'd look up to that. Yeah, like obviously he's not, and he is just my dad at the end of the day. And but I remember as a kid, and he, like if a pet died or something like that, and you'd be sobbing and things like that, and you grow up and you see him like stern as anything, and there's even been like family members that have died, and you'd not see him cry and stuff. And I think because he was in the army in the 70s and 80s, and when mental health probably wasn't, I don't know if it wasn't even discussed then, was it back in the day? Like
it wasn't a thing, mate. It wasn't a thing.
Yeah, and I think back then it's like you get drilled in and to just deal with things. And I remember sort of growing up thinking, oh, you just need to just suck it up and get on with things. And you can't, like, I'm quite bad for bottling things up, like with stuff like that. And I did with Danny for a long time. I didn't go to the gym after Danny died I didn't go down Mammoth for months. I went down a couple of times, and then I didn't go down for a long time. And I think
it was to talk about it.
Yeah, it was literally that. And there'd be like pictures of him up and stuff. And so you didn't
want that reminder.
Yeah, I didn't want to see it. Like it was really tough for that. And I remember, I can't remember who it was suggested. A few of my friends suggested about going to see like a therapist and stuff. And I remember at the time being in such like negative like headspace about that. And I remember thinking like, why do I want to speak to someone else about my problems, about my best friend? And it sounds a bit stupid now looking back, but in my own head I was thinking, well, I don't want to open up to someone I don't know. But then and then in the same way, so I don't want to really talk about it at all.
You didn't want to open up to yourself.
Yeah, I think it goes back to what Kieran said about that denial as well. Like, it's such a weird thing, and yeah, I think I just dealt with it myself and spoke to Jamie more, and I saw a lot of Danny's mum, which helped as well.
Yeah,
and she's such an incredible woman. Like, just because obviously she's Danny's mum, but like the stuff she does for mental health in our area is it's insane. Like, she's always at talks or giving conferences or training, and yeah, it's really, really good. But yeah, I think it is a massive thing. Just you do need to talk about it. Like, even if you can reach out to anyone, like, I think it helps you more than you realize. Even at the time, if you don't think so, it does help a lot. I think subconsciously, like, because them thoughts and stuff are in your brain and in your head and stuff. So yeah. But again, it's easier said than done to a lot of people, right? Like,
yeah, and understanding that you're not the only one who's going through this. This is, whether you be man or woman, you aren't the only person suffering from mental health. There's people out there who suffer from this stuff every day. So reach out to either experts or friends or anything you can. Just start talking about it. None of us are experts, and we do want to try and get an expert on, and we've been trying for a long time. And again, this is something we've been struggling with, is try and find somebody who we can openly talk to about mental health, who can refer to, some of the better places to go. But you aren't alone. And, if you need to reach out to someone, please reach out to somebody.
Yeah, definitely. I think, just do it. Like, I think you don't realize how much it can really help.
Yeah.
100%.
I think one of the things I struggled with the most was that you go through the listening to other people, and other people, have still got that very bad stigma towards suicide of, it was the coward's way out. Left so many people behind. they've left their family behind, their friends behind. You know, they didn't think about those sort of people, but to me, they're people who've not had to deal with it.
Yeah,
and you deal with it is so much different to thinking about that kind of. You don't go through that thought. You don't go, well, that was a coward's way out. You think, well, you know, how much pressure was that person under to think that that was their only way out?
Yeah, 100%. I think like if you truly think that's a coward's way out, I think you're just like a selfish, self-entitled fucking idiot. Like, I might be wrong, but
No,
I
t-shirt.
agree.
if you're just that self-absorbed, you can't think about someone else's mental health. Like, do you know what I mean? Like exactly what you just said, Kieran. Like they think that is their way out. Like, it's like that is so final. Like, and
they didn't want to do that, did they?
No.
Yeah, exactly.
It wasn't their choice. It's something that's built up over so long, and that's a choice they wanted to make. But they didn't. If you'd asked them months before or even days before, is that what you want to do? They'd probably say no. But it's what's really built up in someone to go and do it. And I've got zero. I can't relate, and I can't understand it. So I've got zero knowledge on the whole thing. So it's been just amazing talking to Sam about it, how it affects other people, and his insight into it's been awesome to listen to.
Yeah, I think it's different. It's very different. Like, but then I always think like, I don't know why people would think it's a coward's way out, but I know there is fucking arseholes in the world that do think that, and
I don't hear it too often. I don't really hear
it.
You guys being around, having friends that have done that sort of thing and they've had those problems, then you're going to hear those things. I haven't really heard. I think I've heard it once.
I think it comes from that sort of old stigma of mental health not really existing, and you know, they just need to man up, and you know, that kind of side of it, and that's kind of still maybe not so prominent now, but you do hear it, especially if you know somebody who's committed suicide. You will always have, you know, a few people that will make those comments. And you know, for me, it was just, you know, I knew the person, I knew they had family, I knew they had kids, and I knew for a fact that it wasn't a coward's way out. It was the only way out, is what they were thinking.
Yeah,
for something so final like that's.
There's no coming back from that, is there?
It's pretty gnarly. It's very gnarly.
For the attitude you said about Danny's legacy and what he's left behind, and like how good the gym is, how much work his brother and his mum put into mental health and the gym and the community, and it sounds like they're doing some unbelievable, groundbreaking work. So what is that? So talk about that legacy, and could you talk about what the gym is like now? His mates that he's helped and all the people he's helped in the gym, what are they like now? And has there been a positive come from his work? And obviously there was a bit of a very bitter end, Danny, but what's the atmosphere like in the gym now? Is it more like total hardcore because we are lifting for Danny like the charity is?
Yeah, it's weird. Like it can get like that sometimes if there's a big group in there and there's Metallica thumping out of the speakers and stuff and chalk flying everywhere. There's a presence. I mean, he's down there. His ashes. We kept his ashes down at the gym.
What?
Yeah.
Awesome.
So it's we go down, like, even though he fucking hated Christmas and birthdays with a passion, he really hated them.
Right.
We go down for Christmas or his birthday, and we'll all max out on Deads or something like that. And the legacy's amazing. Like I said, like it's really bittersweet, because I remember there was a time we were talking at the back of the gym when he was really down, and he was just looking into my eyes saying, "No one fucking cares. Like, no one cares." And it's just like, it was so hard at that time to think, like, what do I say when he's so adamant that so many people do care, and it takes that to show. I don't know. It's hard, isn't it? Like, because even though people do care.
He just struggled to see all the great around him, and if he was. I'm sure he was. Obviously, he's going through depression. It must be so hard for someone like that to see all the positive people, and all, because they're always there. Those people like his mum and people like yourself. He's seeing that all the time, so he doesn't see. Probably hard to see past it.
Yeah, 100%.
Probably seen a lot of negative things, and that's how mine would have been working.
100%. And it's like when you see, like I said, in the gym, like especially in the summer, like because we've got like sort of tires and what they call like the big fuck off like coffin things, but they're concrete that the strong men run about with.
Coffin carries, that
mad shit that I don't do none of that. And
Tombstone.
Like Tombstone, that's the one.
Yeah.
people
Confidence, that's a similar word, mate. We'll give you that.
yeah, tombstone sounds cooler though. That's a wrestler move as well, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, hang on.
Oh
Do it.
no, Sam, haven't you learnt about this, mate? Well, I looked on Channel 5 today, and there's probably a reason my girlfriend put it on, and there's just Randy Orton's face holding the title, being all muscular, and Mel was like, "Who's that?" And I was like, "Mel, please don't ask. That's Randy Orton. Why is this on Channel 5 on my telly? What is going on?"
Get him off. Get him out.
Nah, he's obviously a beast, but yeah, wrestling's changed so much.
Yeah.
So yeah, you was talking about the tombstone, the carry.
Yeah, so like I said,
Awesome in the summer.
is you do see people that legacy's carried on, like you say, people really like there's a really insane atmosphere. Like if someone's maxing out or anything, and it's busy, and people, it's almost like mini comp sometimes.
Yeah,
It's really good, and like the clothing and stuff, like that's really cool. Like I've been walking around in Norwich before, and someone said about it, and there was another guy there who trains down the gym, and then he lives in Norwich, and he was walking through the streets, and the guy stopped him and said, "Oh, like Mammoth, blah blah blah," and started talking about Danny to him and that, and I think this stuff like that is really bittersweet, but it's really nice to hear, and
Yeah.
wow.
I think just seeing how the gym's doing as well, and it's really popular, and powerlifting's growing. And for me as well, there's a lot of youngsters that started training. A lot of young lads, only like sort of 16, 17, 18. And they started training a couple of years ago, or a year and a half ago or so. And a couple of them are really all right. And I was sort of thinking, I hope they stick at it, and they've got really into it. And I think you'd like to have seen stuff like that as well, because you normally get like your young lads come in and just want to get pumped up and look good and to go out on a Saturday and stuff. And it's completely, if that's what you want to do, like it's completely cool. But I think seeing when they come in and they're working hard, and Danny always really respected that, like just a really hard work sort of ethos. Doesn't matter what weights you're lifting, just come in and work hard and enjoy it.
Exactly. That's what powerlifting does. Just focus on the numbers.
Yeah.
You're going to get healthier and stronger no matter who you are. So focus on the numbers and spell that progress and putting the time in, put the work in.
Yeah, like I guess
Sure, you'd have loved it.
Like what Mike says as well, it's a marathon, not a sprint. Like just keep chipping away. Like
I think I can't remember if it was Mike or you said to Scott one time, because he was like, I don't know what to open with, and Scott was saying, is it this? So I open with this one, go 190, 200. And it was either you or Mike said, "Yeah, you don't get extra points for a high opener, mate." He's like, just open with something and
not
keep
about
going.
where you start; it's about where you finish.
Yeah, you don't get extra points for a high opener.
Yeah, I'd sometimes see that. I think, why have people open so heavy? Like,
yeah, I've never done that, so it's fine. Never opened up too high to prove myself and look like I can lift loads of weight. Never done that. nearly bombed. Nearly bombed from opening too high. Nah, never.
I think Mike always used to say as well, it's a really old school thing now, because people do all this RPE thing, don't they? And percentages and that. And I like working off percentages.
Same.
But I remember Mike would always say, like, if you can triple it, like, it's a pretty solid opener. I think it's just quite a basic old school way of looking at it. That's for my first comps. He's like,
nothing wrong with that.
You can triple it, like open on it. And then you can go more in depth with percentages and things. But
I always used to
shit at maths, so
see all the best lifters. Their opener would either look like, or you thought, because you'd know what they were going to lift. Great lifters, their opener would be like, it's just so much lower than you think, and it looks like their last warm up.
Yeah.
Like the likes of Cliff, and I've seen Bowring lift. The likes of you, I've seen all sorts of great lifters, and I'm like that opener is like so easy, but they need that there because then they're in the rhythm. And they've punched in at the right time.
Confidence as well. Like that first, I don't think there's anything more nerve-wracking in a comp than that first squat. Like,
no,
it's a really nerve-wracking fucking experience. Like,
horrible. It's like a meet in itself. That's the emotion of a meet is just that one squat, and then you got to go do the rest of your meet.
I remember like first of my few comps thinking like, how do I hit depth? Like, am I going to hit depth? Like, can I hit depth? And it's like you've just trained like fucking however many months, so you know you can hit depth, but you think, oh, what if I don't hit depth?
What is depth?
yeah, and you just start like pranging yourself out, and you're like, what are you doing? Like,
you're squatting, but your back's to the centre judge. Oh, sorry, mate. Yeah, just chill, man.
I think I had probably one of the, well, at least my experience. I've only done one competition. It was at that. There was that PTS one. Everything that could go wrong went wrong for me. I turned up. I forgot my card.
Brilliant.
So I literally had to ask the guy in front of me who was weighing in. I was like, "Can I go in front of you so I can go and get my card and come back?" And he's like, "Yeah, if you have to." So I ended up going in a weight category above what I would normally be lifting in anyway, because I didn't want to cut weight. So I was like, "I'll just do it." I'll just for my first comp. Forgot my card, got weighed in, went home, got my card, come back, showed the judge as the first lifters were going up. So I'm like running over to try and warm up. I didn't even get a chance to go over and say to Mike what height I wanted the squat stand at. He just went, "Where do you want it?" I was like, "Yeah, that sounds about right."
That'll do.
And then I'm warming up with Chris. And as I'm warming up with Chris, I do my last rep. And then they go, "Right, next on the platform, Kieran." I'm like, "Oh, shit."
That was during deadlifts. That was during deadlifts.
It was doing deadlifts. I was like, "Fuck, I have to run over."
I was trying to time it perfectly, and obviously I just wasn't watching. I was like, "Kieran, do that now because you're about to do your opener," and you did it, and it looks quite solid. You put it down, and it was like Kieran Innocent. I watched you from doing that last warm up, just walk. I watched you the whole way off the platform, and I was just watching. I was like, "That's the only recovery he's had."
And I knew
lifting
nothing
it again
about powerlifting.
Well, that was very good.
Absolutely. I mean, I walked straight. I think when they called me for the squats, I literally just walked straight on, and they were like, "No, you need to stand over there until you're called." I was like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah.
I remember
knew nothing about it.
at the Four Nations actually. Aaron Singh. I don't know if you remember Aaron.
Yeah.
Absolute legends. This is like it's an absolute legend.
He always does Tony. Oh, he does Tony. I don't know him. Always does Cliff's numbers like worlds and stuff. Always puts the.
He did, yeah. I don't think he coaches the senior team anymore. He'd done it for years and years, but he coached us and handled us up at. He handled us up at the Four Nations in Newcastle. And I remember my last warm up. I think I was opening on 260. I think it was 260 because I wanted to try and hit 280. So back then when I was less experienced, I just do 10 kilo jumps really And I remember doing my last warm up and I thought, fucking hell, that felt heavy. And he was like, "Oh shit." And I had my opener as my last warm up in the warm up room. I was just like, "Oh shit." So I'm going to have to go and do that again. So that was quite funny. I've done my opener twice.
So listen, Sam, we don't want to end so much on negatives. So let's look at it from a positive point of view. If you could go back and talk to your younger self, what advice would you give?
Oh, Christ, that's a very hard one. I think for me personally is to believe in myself more.
Ignore Chris McKenzie at comps.
So what would be like Chris and open really heavy? No, I think, like have a lot more self-belief in myself.
Oh, wow.
As a massively. I've always been pretty unconfident in my own abilities, even growing up and stuff. And I think a lot of youngsters might feel that as well, like from different upbringings and things like that. And I think it's a really important thing. Like it's just really cheesy, but you can really fucking achieve things if you want to do it and just put the time in and not really give a shit what anyone else thinks either.
I always thought you were quite chilled. Like when I used to see you lifting and stuff, and it was kind of like someone would say something, "Wow, that's a lot of weight" or whatever, and you would brush off a lot of. Not that we've done like a million comps together, but you'd brush off a lot of comments. I used to think, you're like really chilled. But some people, but powerlifting is, yes, you're right, Scott. So powerlifting is, you can have some self-doubt, but again, that's what you've chosen, and you can bust through it, can't you?
I think like with comps and that, and again, it's sort of bad, and I wouldn't ever. It's hard, and I'm quite hard on myself as well in many ways like that. And I was happy with some of the numbers that I got, but in my own head, I'm thinking like but they're not Tony Cliff's. And I always, and it's stupid, but there was the stuff like not even Tony as an example, but that sort of level I really, really looked up to. And I think that can screw you up a bit. You just need to enjoy it. And again, I think it's, like even at comps, when people say that's a fair bit, and it's like, oh, it is, but it's, what are you going to go, I'm well mad strong and start flexing and look like a knob? Like, I think you just need to just be humble and help people where you can as well. Like, it's nice to be nice as well, I think, and especially especially for things like that. But definitely a big thing. If I could tell myself, it's like if I could have two things, it'd be like have a lot more self-confidence and do not give a shit to what anyone thinks. Like
Amazing.
that's why I look like such a hillbilly now. I don't like mum and dad give me shit when I go out and I'm just dressed in shorts, flip flops, and scruffy hair and that, and I don't care. Like, I do not care what anyone thinks. Like it's such a nice thing. I used to worry so much as when I was growing up. Like I never really had designer things like designer.
You're just not made that way, mate.
Oh, I look like I feel like I'm poor or whatever, and because other kids have got like Air Max fucking trainers or whatever, and it's not that you wanted that, but it's that thing, isn't it? And I think again that
FOMO
that links back in with mental health as like it's a stereotype that you think you have to live up to, isn't it? Like the trends and things. I'm going to look really cool and not talk about my problems and going back to that. And I think yeah, but pretty much that.
Cool.
I could run on all day about stuff, but
No, that's perfectly fine. You actually actually the last person that come on almost gave exactly the same thing. So there's obviously a bit of a trend here of be confident in yourself.
It's so important to as I've got older as well and experienced things, and yeah, I think you just need to really and like just believe in yourself and try live in the present more as well, which again is a really cheesy thing, like live in the moment and stuff. But I think you need to be like you see a lot the Insta quotes and stuff. But I really believe
it's not cheesy. No, staying present that's a real thing. You need to
like when you look at things like your memories are just like sort of parts of your subconscious sort of brain, and then the present is nothing. Like it's what you make up in your head because you're not there, right?
That's brilliant. That's
That's
so true.
It is though. Like you, even though it's like you think you know what you're doing tomorrow,
yeah,
it's not going to be that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I think you can get so caught up. You just need to really live in the present and just have confidence in everything you do and just enjoy everything you do as well. I think. And I think doing a lot more outside things has made me really grateful for that and turned me into even more of a hippie. Like I just see like the beauty in more things and stuff and just appreciate a lot of things more. Like
sounds like you've had so much time, like you're like a really reflective person.
Yeah, it's helped. I think again, like I said, with that heart thing and that sort of basically should have, like, if I wouldn't have got them symptoms, that would have killed me and that's gnarly to hear. Like when it's sort of like, I'm hearing that and I'm thinking shit, like, and then you think, oh, what if I'd have died? And there's things you haven't achieved, or there's things you've not wanted. There's things that you've wanted to do that you've not got to do, and stuff like that. And yeah, I think it's good to reflect though, and it's hard to look in at your own self. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you don't want to criticize your own self, but I think that's such an important thing to do as a person because what you're giving out as who you are to other people and what they're perceiving as you, and you don't want to be like a complete dick. So you want to look at yourself.
Sometimes you should be tough on yourself in that respect.
I think just be honest. Just be honest with yourself, which is hard to do. And again, you want to be honest with other people as well, right? Like, but again, there's so much variables and things are easier said than done. And I think it's quite a good thing to try and work on, like for your own personal sort of
really well said, mate.
Thing,
yeah. Absolutely. I think as well I can talk as I'm the oldest person in the room. Well, not in the room, but on this call. That the older you get, the more you realise your own mortality. And that, as ridiculous as that might sound at 34, but it is the truth. And sometimes you just have these weird waking moments where you just think, am I happy with the things that I've achieved at the moment? And if you're not, then now's the time to start doing something about that.
Yeah, that's a massive... I sound quite morbid, but I've thought about death for quite a while. I don't mean to sound like really morbid, but it's always intrigued me, like that side of things, like from probably like 20 onwards, and I think about it quite a lot. Like, your own mortality and other people's as well as you get older, like parents, and you do have like them lingering random thoughts. Sometimes you think like that sort of thing, like you say, and I don't know. It can. I think it can really sort of help people in a way. Like I know it's a sad thing to think about, but it is. You need to be real, and it's a thing that happens, right? Like you need to accept it. But
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's kind of, we've spoke about it before on the podcast, but that's kind of what this podcast was made from. It was a sudden realization that I didn't want to just spend my life doing something for somebody else. I wanted to be able to make somebody else's life better and help other people. And hopefully by doing this, that is what we're doing. And only if we reach one person, that's one more person than we would have if we hadn't done it.
Strongly really think like that should be the purpose of most humans. It's like you just want to help other people. Like, again, it sounds really hippie, but you're all one. And I know it's on a bigger scale, but just be nice as well. And like you say, if you can help one other person, like with whatever that is, like, it's so important. It's so important, especially nowadays more than ever, when there's, like you say, that the age of fucking social media, which is amazing, but people are comparing themselves so much, and like people are like doing stupid shit to prove points, and that there's loads of people around here that I've heard of that have took crazy finance deals to get a car or like watches and shit to show off.
Every day people do it.
Yeah. And it's like, you need, it's hard. But again, I think like from doing more outdoorsy things and I don't know, I love that about camping. Like you go out and it's like I don't worry about anything. I'm just there in the woods or on the hills or whatever. And that's that. And you just connect and you just chill out and you just appreciate.
It's just on your own.
I haven't been on my own yet, but I normally go with my friend Lewis. But I would go on my own. Like I could do it. I love it. Like just peace. And
where'd you go then?
Well, there's a few places around here. We've got Thetford about 40 minutes away. It's a massive pine forest. But we drove up to Yorkshire a couple of months ago. We just go wherever. Like we just wild camp as well. So we just find somewhere out of the way and leave no trace and stuff. Like take all your shit with you so you're not ruining.
Oh, amazing! Do you have like a tent, or is it like just sleeping bag? I've
just got like a little bivvy bag thing. I have, so just sort of just hide away in that.
Yeah,
just hide away in that. But no,
we should do that. We should set a comp, say like in Scotland, and we've just got to get there. We've got to somehow get there with no car, no food. Just we go with the comp like 4 days before we leave.
That's great.
Just got to walk to Scotland.
It'd be fucking amazing.
I think we might need more than 4 days, mate. If we got to walk to Scotland.
Like 4 months.
How many miles you can do in a minute, mate? But
especially if we find some good pubs. If we find a pub, it'll be longer than 4 days.
We need way more than 4 days.
Just to go back to like the hippie thing as well. One of my favorite quotes is, death is the period or the full stop, and your life is the question. And it's down to you what that question is. And I think that's something that I kind of think about is like building that question for yourself.
Yeah, massively. Like it's just a journey. Like all these cheesy quotes are so true. Like, like so many things like that. Again, like even for Worlds, like that was a real big sort of highlight of my life. And I thought almost at the time, I'll be happy after I've done that because I wanted to do that, and I'd done it. And it's just like. I'm really grateful. I'm happy at the time that I'd done it, but then you're back to square one. Like,
it's done.
What you chasing next?
It is that journey going through the training and all that sort of thing, and exactly that, like what you're doing next. But it's weird, man. Like the more you think about it, like you can just prang yourself out like afterlife and stuff. And
why do you like that quote, Squat?
Yeah, that is awesome.
I think
really
as well,
good.
like going back.
Why do you like it, Scott?
So go on, Chris.
Just saying, why do you like that quote so much, Scott?
Because it does leave it very open ended. Death is the end of it, so it's the end of the sentence, and it's down to you what the question is or what the sentence is. So it's going to be different for everyone, for me, it just kind of helps me, keep to like goals and everything. Whatever.
Just keep you moving forward, isn't it? Like
exactly.
That's another thing as well. Like just keep progressing in anything. Like as long as you're making little baby steps, like even if you're really fucking bad and like you're struggling and stuff, even like making little tasks, like making your bed and stuff, and just doing things like that. Just it sounds so childish and stupid, but stuff like that massively helped me at times, and especially through the other lockdown, and like when I wasn't working. It's like, right, I'll get up, I'll make my bed. And I'm like, that's a little tick for the day. It's like, right, that's done. and you just build up. And I think you need to build up from sort of them sort of points. You can't just go straight into like, oh, I'm just going to go out. And some people can, like, of course, some people can, but I think if you are feeling that bad, just like you say, just try and improve something, even really small, and just keep moving forward. Like no matter how slow it is.
I think people can, but you're not broken if you can't.
Yeah, and I think so many people get caught up in that much shit. You forget about that sort of thing. Like just try and move forward, even if it's like the tiniest bit. You've still done something. That's still a positive thing.
Yeah.
But I know it's hard to see it. That's hard to see at the time and stuff. But
I mean, there's a saying that I've actually used for the podcast that I stole from Scott, and that is that with this we're trying to make the average feel elite. So not everyone has to, not everyone that you watch on social media, you see all these people who are unachievable.
Yeah.
That's not the norm of fitness.
It's not. No, it's nowhere near.
That's the the 0.1%ers.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. There's such an elite like bracket of people, aren't they? It's such a tiny amount of people.
Yeah. So I quite like the fact that that's what this can do.
I think we're all more relatable, right? Like we're way more relatable than like super sports stars. I mean, you might not be, but it's more accessible, isn't it? Like, do you know what I mean? Like people can throw in questions and and things like that, and you'll have your own experiences through life. You can learn. You just learn off everyone, unless you're really closed-minded, which is dumb. Like I think you should just be open-minded as you can. Like just be like a sponge and just take in everything, anything you can, like from people, and then give that back, like in everything.
Couldn't agree more, Sam. Couldn't agree more. And listen, thank you very much. We have to wrap this up, but thank you very much for joining us.
I really appreciate it.
It's been really, really good. It's been really insightful. It's nice to listen to your side of things from a sports point of view, also the mental health side of things that we covered. We'll go to our normal sign-off. Chris, please don't interrupt. Scott, where can we find you?
Well, firstly, I'm just going to shout out to Little Alpha Danny on GoFundMe. I think everyone should go over there and donate. But you can find me at Scott Speaking on Instagram.
Chris, where can we find you?
Strength.
And Sam, where can we find you?
It's Sam_Mammoth, I believe.
Thank you very much. And you can find me at let's_talk about it. And you can also find all the old podcasts at www.letstalkaboutit.co.uk. And we will hit all the links below. So you can either go to the GoFundMe, you can find Scott, you can find Sam, or you can find Chris. Thank you very much for joining us, and we will catch you again soon.